Welcome back to Zelda Speed Runs. We have for you Game 2 from the Zelda 2 Randomizer Upstart Tournament 2025 Round 1. Once again, it is Taelin versus Sigil. Tracking again, we have RG365. And I'll pass it over to our commentary team of David and Sonny Rath. Take it away, you two.
Hey, thank you very much. Thanks for having us. We're back. Hi, Sonny Rath. Thanks for taking over from Eleanor.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, thank you for passing it off to us, VT. What a tournament this has been through the async stages. We had the seeding race for Taelin as well as Anitsu, and now we're into game 2 of Taelin versus Sigil. I missed game 1.
That game 1 was quite a race. Both runners showed excellent fundamentals and very similar. The lead switched back and forth a few times, and then was the real great equalizer. Now we're off with a palace just south of North Palace, and we're going to see Taelin doing again an early farm, but this time the red iron knuckles are only 100 each, so it's going to be interesting to see if it changes its strategy at all. It doesn't appear that it has.
An early 3-6 grind, especially at this point, is always a good call. Especially considering that I believe Attack 2 is at 220. Yes, 220 for Attack 2. And Sigil also going to take that grind as well. But grab Attack 2, or not Attack 2, Life 2 right off the bat, I'm sorry. And Taelin looking to go after Attack 2 instead. And I missed what spell is here in Ruto.
I did not see it.
It's Jump.
What is... Oh, so is this bleep even randomized? Let me ask you, what would you do? Would you prefer Life 2 or Attack 2 if you were doing this grind here?
So I play a bit more on the aggressive end, so Attack 2 would be much more beneficial for me. And
I arrive at the same conclusion, but for I guess a different reason. I'm a little bit weak at my technical game, so having an Attack 2 means fewer hits, easier chance to kill something. So yeah, that's probably what I would do as well.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that with how the attack is scaled at random attack effectiveness, you may get an increase or you may get nothing.
Yeah. Well, we did see in the last race, the early grind had some advantages for Taelin, but not all the advantages he would have wanted, and did. But did ultimately find that I think the magic, the extra magic levels were helpful, being able to cast Fairy more than once. So we have Sigil in a cave, and forgive me for not knowing which cave this is, but I know there.
So this is Medicine Cave and has a red Dyra there at the end. Trophy is in P1, which is some good information to have, because that will net the jump spell, which tends to be quite useful. So it's all going to be dependent upon whether or not the runners wish to pick it up, if they are in go mode at that point in time, or not. So Child coming out of the Medicine Cave, another one of the fetch quest items. So French vanilla fetch quest item? Sure, let's go with it.
That child just keeps getting lost week after week.
Yeah, that is very true. Taelin actually having some good combat there.
Island, just off the right side of the early map. And we're going to see Sigil's going to try and clear out for those two spots where you fall through the floor and get an item.
Yeah, the two item drops here in Maze Island. Those can be absolutely huge. And Taelin unfortunately taking a death there. Sigil just exploring through the maze finds the first drop, and it is the child drop in vanilla. But since the child's already been found, what is going to be here? It's the boot.
That's a huge find.
Pegasus boot this early is very nice to see.
Now it's going to be interesting to see if Taelin follows, because again, in the first race, both of them seem to have strong fundamentals, doing a lot of the same steps in the same order. Now, Sigil just found the second drop zone, which is unfortunate. A P-bag, but at this early, definitely substitutes a lot of grinding, so we see that he's now got 500 of 610, and he's going to pop into this palace right here, which is Palace 1.
Yes.
He's not unfortunately going to find what he wants. He's not going to up an A. Oh, he is going to up an A and forego those 500 points. Talk to me about that. Sonny, is that you like that move?
So, I think what Sigil's plan there was to try to get enough experience to get that attack 3, which would have been a nice little break point. But unfortunately, because he didn't run into any of the encounter tiles on the maze, it just did not work out. But we have both Palaces 3 and 6 here on the west, as well as 4 and 1 on the maze, which tells us that GP is going to be over on the east. Whether or not it's going to be vanilla, we have yet to know.
Now, let me ask you this, Sonny, because my Upstarts brain here, I'm pretty new at this. I would have probably gone into P1 and tried to complete my level. I was 110 XP away, get my attack 3, and then see if I can either get an item or get an early clear of P1. Tell me if you like that idea or not.
So, it's a little 50-50, just because with how the flags changed from week 3 to week 4 in the tournament itself, blocking rooms can appear anywhere. So, if you run into a glove block immediately in 1, you're out of luck. On top of that, if you run into a key door immediately in 1, you're out of luck.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I mean, I've had luck to get a lot of keys when I did some of the Upstart seeds, but yeah, I mean, if you're stuck with a key door, then you don't want to be in that spot. Now we see a flute over here in this particular cave. So Sigil's now got the flute and the boots and reflect magic.
Yes, and Taelin is searching for Bagu right now, where Sigil doesn't have to worry about that because of the boots being easily accessible.
Because, yeah, you got, I think the first access point is the backside of Saria.
Yes.
But having the boots makes that whole process unnecessary. We see a trio of caves right here. One of them is Fairy Cave, is it?
Correct.
And unfortunately, Sigil will not be able to explore that. We see that Taelin fast.
Yes, the note for the Riverman from Bagu. Not too terribly far from start. Always a good thing to find. And checking the second cave, and it looks to be Parappa Cave. So now Taelin's going to come in and find out the news of Fairy Cave here. Going to take Magic 3.
So 2-3-3 for Taelin. 7, just short of 8 minutes in. Where we've got Sigil.
I think Sigil's sitting at 112 right now, or 212.
I thought I saw 3 in there, but I could be wrong there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. 213.
And there's just double Dairas on each side,
Oh, when you get into encounters like these, you got to be careful, just because you're going to take a lot of damage from the Dairas here.
And not having downstab is a real difference. Sigil is just taking the up and A. Not sure if you saw over on Taelin's side, in King's Tomb, you had a hint that the hammer's in the east.
Yeah, that's actually a fairly good hint to get, especially right now, because that hammer could be blocking something like, I don't know, a town over on the east, or Spec Rock could be needed for the glove. There are a lot of different potential outcomes with that, but a magic jar in Pillar Peabag Cave as Sigil comes over to the grass tile and finds a key.
I'd be taking that key back to Palace 1 and trying to do that. What move? I think, I'm not sure, but that's probably what my thinking would be if I didn't already do.
So, personally, I agree with doing more overworld exploration. You get a bit more knowledge. Even though you found your 3 palaces, you still have some connectors missing. You have your 2 cave connectors, and then you're still missing the raft tile. And with those still being completely MIA, it makes sense to try to find them as you're going through, while you're also looking for, I believe, Raru still has yet to be located.
And if I understand correctly, Raru, Ruto, and Saria and Mido are all on the west. That's what you'll normally find?
Correct.
Okay. So we are still looking for Raru, which is a free spell. It could be anything, even a boat.
Could be the fairy spell, and Taelin, unfortunately, gets into that nasty encounter that bounced Sigil earlier.
And Itsu says that he would peek into P1, but up A if there was a key door. Yeah, I probably would go the direction that was not the key door. Hope I pick up A and either find what I'm looking for or double back with a key in hand eventually.
Now, I am a fan of the more aggressive play like that, though it's not a play that I normally do in a race, just because I have been burnt by that a few times.
Yeah.
Purple Wanderer unfortunately knows nothing for Taelin, and Sigil is heading over to the other side here of this vanilla-like west.
Alright, so we got a cave over here, which is this Trophy Cave?
It is indeed the Trophy Cave.
I'm starting to identify what they are. So there's going to be an item here. Could be something really big, or
it could be a bust, and it's the medicine.
Interesting.
So Mido needs to be located in order for that to be turned in, but if that yields the fairy spell, then Sigil's going to be in a pretty good spot right now.
I mean, I like the idea also of going back to P1. I know I've said that before, but now that I think is if you can get them, you can hand in the medicine, but get jump magic and also downstab, which is so crucial because again, this being a week 5 seed, not starting with downstab is a big difference. So Taelin, by the way, picks up the flute and up and A's out.
And Sigil has found the town of Raru, which contains the life spell. So it's always a good little safety play, grabbing life, and we'll just have to see what Sigil decides to do from here, because with that medicine in tow, if he finds Mido, then he's going to be in a good spot, and we definitely need more swamp in this seed.
What's interesting is that Taelin is entering Maze Island from a different side, and so he's not going to find. Oh, he does find the boot. I think he's able to access from the same place.
Yeah. So Taelin came in from the bridge, which Sigil came in from, and has already found the boots. And spell is the spell. If that's not confusing, I don't know what is.
Okay, so Taelin did come in from the same side as. I think I might be having seed bleed from the last seed then, thinking that there was an entry at the left.
And there's the raft tile over here by 1, so not a bad find. Just needs the raft. And are we going to see a dive here into P1? I think we are.
Taelin walked up to the north coast and then down the bridge while Sigil. That could be what I'm mixing up in my head, thank you. 5. So we do see Taelin diving right into P1, going right. So far, so good. No doors left, blocks to break.
So there is this key door, but with the key in tow, able to get through it, gonna go up the elevator and finds a junction, and that room is glove or fairy blocked. So a little bit of bad news in that respect.
Yeah.
But not the worst news that it could be.
Orange Iron Knuckle is giving you 70.
That's not bad. Alright. We have Heart Container Cave over here for Sigil. Now, I believe, if I've been keeping track, this is the last item cave that Sigil needs. And we have found a loop here in one, and a blue iron knuckle, which is always a bit scary. Gonna take a couple hits to it, go through, and it loops up to the fairy glove block. Unfortunate circumstance there for Taelin, but he's gonna go back in and take the left that he did not take, and we're going to see where this goes. To a glove block. So one is glove or fairy blocked.
With the boots now, it's an easy exit back to the bridge here. And now you're going to see Taelin doing... You're going to see Taelin do some of the same exploring that Sigil did earlier.
And we have a River Canyon Death Mountain. This is always an interesting one to navigate because you have to pay attention to both the northern and southern sides of DM in order to narrow down what's going to be Hammer Cave.
What did you describe it as? A river king?
It is a river canyon.
A river canyon. Okay, I've never heard of that before. So that's good for me to know. I see that could be... Could that be the grass tile?
No, that's not going to be the grass tile. The grass tile is always on the west.
Oh, that's right, and Sigil's on the east right now.
Sigil's on Death Mountain.
Oh, sorry, Death Mountain, correct.
But gonna check a few of these caves, see what he can find. And so far, there hasn't been any sight of Hammer Cave until now. And a nasty first enemy in Hammer Cave with the red Dyra. Bit of a rough opponent to start, but not impossible to get through. Slow and steady, taking this very easy. Soon to get that red Dyra down, and does so.
Gets it, no double axes, that's good.
And that's always a plus, not having to worry about double axes. But immediately greeted by an orange Dyra and a lot of other enemies. So here we go. What is Hammer Cave going to have? Is it going to have the raft? Is it going to have...
The glove?
The glove. Could be a magic key. Could be a cross.
Sigil takes damage and somehow manages to hold on to a sliver of HP there.
Magic key would be amazing for going into 3-6. And survey says it's just a magic container. Life almost castable at Magic 1 with 6 MCs, but not quite there yet. Well, welcome on in, and the There will be quite a bit to learn. Sigil going to go ahead and walk out of Hammer Cave. Probably going to see if there's another connector cave here that will take him over to the east, as Taelin makes it through Heart Container Cave just to pick up the 500 point P-Bag and get attack 3.
I thought I'd seen a connector cave to the east earlier on Sigil's side.
There hasn't been one yet. We've seen a connector to DM, and we've seen a connector to the maze. We don't know where the raft tile is going to lead. We will call the palaces by number until we get to the Great Palace, which is always GP.
And the starting palace is the North Palace.
Yep.
It's a bad enemy set. Not as bad as the one in the last race where you had Dyras on both sides, but still not a great enemy set there.
It was very well dealt with, though. That was beautifully handled by Sigil. As Taelin does find Trophy Cave, we'll be able to pick up the medicine and get the spell, but unfortunately it takes a bop from a bot. Alright, Sigil, checking these caves.
Oh, when he falls in again.
Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Oh, did we find it?
Despawns the bot.
And is going to get that medicine. And Sigil is just looking now for... Okay, there's
the raft
There's
tile.
the answer of the raft, and there's the
There's
east.
the connection. So we got desert tile right above, which would find Kasuto here. Oh, you find old Kasuto.
With
is
thunder.
Is this leap even randomized?
A vanilla spell in its town. That's hilarious. That bot was it was not being kind, but Thunder castable at Magic 1 with 7 MCs, always nice to see.
And over here we've got Naburu with Fairy.
Now this is a big find. This is a huge find for Sigil, as Taelin still has not gone into Death Mountain. We'll have to try to find everything and just continue on from there. If Grandma requires 7 magic containers, that could also be another issue for Taelin, as he may not grab the magic container from Hammer Cave that the Sigil has grabbed.
I like to think that he's going to try and flush Hammer Cave, though. I know people like to avoid Death Mountain, but with probably want to check around for that. So it'll be interesting to see how that.
And that's a fantastic question. Does Sigil start dipping palaces now? I don't think so.
Did that just say Carrick disappears with the jar?
Yeah, so...
Not a great item in P4.
Well, that's a magic container. That's the garbage hen out of the way.
Oh, when it says jar, it's referring to a magic container, not a...
Correct.
Okay, good to know.
It will say red jar or blue jar if it's referring to a red or blue jar. So we do see the water tile surrounded by lava. Is this the hammer?
Or is it going to be another...
It's the hammer! So, ooh.
Opens up Spec Rock.
Yeah, because this could lead into Spec Rock, which Spec Rock could have exactly what Sigil's looking for with the glove in order to be able to just start diving palaces immediately. And the encounters on the lava tiles aren't looking too bad. But on top of that, that hammer plus fairy allows Sigil to not only do Spec Rock, but also get downstab. And downstab is always an amazing tool to have in the back pocket.
Now, I didn't see, did Taelin get downstab? I thought that Taelin doesn't have jump yet, does he?
Taelin does not have jump because Trophy is in P1, and
That's right.
P1's glove blocked, or fairy blocked.
So yeah, so Taelin was not able to get to the the down stab. So the only one who can get down stab right now is Sigil.
This is going to put Sigil in a very, very good position. With Fairy, Thunder, and Reflect, the only thing that's really needed from here is the glove in order to finish out the seed. But that's at a bit more of a high-risk standpoint, because at that point, you are relying on your boss execution as well as your general execution within palaces to carry you through.
Yeah. We talked about the last seed too. You know, upstab, while not strictly speaking necessary, is usually advisable to get.
Now, there is a handy little technique or a handy little trick you can do that allows you to skip some of the upstab blocks, but it's, I'll say, somewhat difficult to do.
I know that I spent about an hour in stab watching Trail's video on how to get through that room with the blocks there, and I was finally able to pull it off, and it turned out that wasn't the right way to do it in, so I had to go to another room, same setup, and do it a second time, so that was a real treat.
Yeah, there's so many good tutorials, and downstab has been picked up by Sigil. So Sigil has a significant combat advantage now, as Taelin has come back in to Death Mountain. Sigil also here in Death Mountain. I know Sigil is immediately going for Spec Rock, and we're going to find out what is hidden inside of that beautiful, beautiful rock. So let us find out.
We find
a heart container. Not the worst thing to find.
Nope, certainly not. Not progression, not necessary, but still very useful. Especially so far, that's the first heart container that either runner has seen today, well, in this seed.
Alright, Sigil's going to go ahead and jump into P1, which, personally, I like the play. You've got Fairy, and that's going to allow Sigil to get past the block that Taelin was not able to get past.
It'll be interesting to know if that's enough, though, because I believe there was a full glove block on one side and a glove or fairy block on another path.
Yeah, there's the glove fairy block at the top of this elevator, but the full glove block is going left, and most likely that's going to be guarding the item in one.
So we got this. This is the loop, I believe.
Yes. We've got a double loop that leads up to here. So we're just going to have to wait and see just what happens, as Sigil's going to go ahead and go left.
Yeah, if he's going to go left, I'm not sure why you didn't up an A there. I guess it's close enough that back.
Well, I think he's going to find himself at the bottom of the elevator. Yeah, this was the bottom of that elevator. And a magic level is going to be taken now. Unfortunately, Taelin getting bounced out of Hammer Cave again. Gonna opt to go elsewhere. As Sigil goes underneath the fairy block, gonna continue off to the right and run into a locked door immediately. Not gonna be able to do anything there. Has to get another magic level at the minimum just to be able to pass that because of Fairy's cost still being way too high.
And there's no way you can take a death in that room, I believe. So
yeah, no enemies respawning.
He's going to be disappointed, though, when he finds that right there.
Yeah, he sees the glove block and he's like, well, crap. But gets a P-bag out of the large enemies, which is nice. And we have P6 located as Taelin immediately finds the boss. And Patrick actually giving a very, very good tip in chat with exiting the final room in Hammer Cave and re-entering to despawn the first enemy.
Barba seems to have rolled down a little bit. Started with one fewer units of health.
One less pip, if you will.
Yeah. Alright, so we got now... Oh, Taelin was able to cast another fairy and get through there.
Yeah, Sigil got Magic 3 and finds the horse. Good repetition there on horse. One more hit, and that's it.
Meanwhile, over on Taelin's side, about halfway through the HP on Barba.
Yeah, so the Barba fight can actually be in an arena outside in the randomizer, which is interesting because with how the boss rooms can be connected to elevators, this is one of the bosses that you can actually get outside. With the mini bosses, you can get a Rebanak fight outside. You could even get a Horsehead mini boss fight outside.
Oh, takes a death, and that's a big problem.
The banana peel strikes back.
He overcorrected. He thought he was going to go off the left side of the platform. We've all been there.
Alright, Fairy being used by Sigil here, going to continue off to the right as Taelin is taking another stab here at Barba. And this is a dead end, so that glove block is where the trophy's going to be. So jump may not be obtained to the seed.
I take it in GP, there's no room that jump if you got...
Nah, there really aren't any rooms that require jump if you have Fairy. But there are occasional rooms that will strictly require Fairy. Item here in 3 immediately for Sigil. Gonna go ahead and cast Fairy to avoid everything, and it's another heart container. So Sigil's actually looking in a pretty good spot right now with resources. And
and I hate to see that. Taelin just mistimed his jump, landed right on the fire, and got bumped back into the water.
Yeah, Barba's not an easy fight. Especially when you're still new to the randomizer and you're really just unsure about how well you can actually do the Barba fight. It's one that if you get too aggressive, it does come back to bite you, and it bites you hard.
Gets 2 hits in on that left side spawn.
Good 3-tile jump from Sigil. Continuing off to the right, looking for Rebanak here. While Taelin, on the last life, currently fighting Barba, has to get the kill here, or it's going to be tragic. Playing it slow and safe, and I like it.
I like it, but you can. I've been in this spot before. You realize that this is a fight that can be done like 5 minutes, and you wanna try and make that time up, but you could risk prolonging it even more.
So, Barba was not renamed to Volvagia until Ocarina of Time, if I remember correctly.
Oh no! Very bad news for Taelin.
Yeah, that's a moment that feels bad.
Taelin may have just DNF'd the seed.
Yeah, Taelin did finish out the seed, unfortunately. Or forfeit, threw in the towel. Whatever you wish to call it, and I can't entirely blame him.
Well, I mean, you got to think, he knows that Sigil is a strong player, and losing 3 fights to Barba and having to come back again, probably about a 10-minute time investment, and it's hard to have a 10-minute time investment and still win the seed. I mean, Barba wasn't deep in P6 as R5 indicates, but I think there's an element of.
I mean, there's an element of tilt, and then on top of that, going against Barba at attack 3 is very, very difficult. It makes that fight so much harder than if you go in at, say, attack 5 or even attack 6, where your damage is going to be much higher than where it sits at attack 3.
Sigil showcasing his combat skills with those different enemy types overlapping each other.
Still searching for our favorite boss, Rebanak. Yeah, Taelin forfeit due to some significant tilt.
I certainly think tilt's a big part of it, but I think, I've been in a situation in a CV2 rando where you're against a strong opponent, and if you take a big time loss like that, you might just do the math, but yeah, it probably was first and foremost a tilt decision.
And Sigil has found a loop here. Going to get Magic 4. Are we going to see an up 8? Oh my goodness. That's a Dripper enemy.
150 blue Iron Knuckles from the Dripper.
Alright, Nath, you got me there. Our true favorite is our Lord and Savior, the Rebo Shark.
Once again, Sigil showing us very good combat skills in dealing with the Iron Knuckle overlapped by the Stealth. Different, I don't know what's going on there, but it picks up an extra life too.
So if you push the Stalfos to a ledge, it will end up doing that pretty much indefinitely. Oh my gosh, the blue Stalfos wanted to really stick with them, and definitely made that known.
Look at that, bot not dying on re-attack.
And the fairy spells cost at Magic 4 has dropped to 37, which is fantastic news for Sigil there. Alright, Sigil coming back up the elevator, going to go right. Has to make this jump again. And you got to maintain all of your speed as well as hit that right moment to get that higher jump, as Sigil just demonstrated.
I think one of my least favorite parts of Zelda 2 Rando is tile jump.
3-tile high jumps and 4-tile jumps are both relatively difficult until you really understand how to do them. And then they become so much easier.
Sigil having an opportunity to use fairy, but just I've seen myself there so many times. Just out of the menu.
Sigil was out of magic, unfortunately.
Oh, was out of magic? Couldn't do it. That makes sense.
All right, here we go. Set up. Going for the corner strat. Got him in the corner. Unfortunately, going to have to go with the normal kill. Has life queued up and ready to go in case anything goes awry. Could opt to downstab and bounce over, but just opting to get stabs in.
He's almost got him there. One more.
There it is.
Sigil doesn't realize that he's now on free roll here. Just needs to finish out the seed. What would happen in the event that Sigil DNF'd the seed?
It would have to be a re-race.
So barring something catastrophic, Sigil will go on to advance to the next round. But let's watch him finish this seed out. He's at P4 now. He has Reflect Magic, so he's just going to go and take this full steam ahead. Hopefully does not need the glove. That's a...
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it is a TAH question, but I'm pretty sure TAH would rule that it would have to be a re-race.
Now, will Sigil be able to see in Race Room that there's a DNF?
If Sigil looks at the race room, yes. Alright, looks like this P4 has a few different paths that can be taken, but Sigil is just going to opt to hold right and go with the traditional path. Leads into a potential multi-floor elevator room. Going to go down the elevator, sees that it's a shaft with a MOA, heads up the elevator, longer shaft here, and it leads to a right. So there's a left, two rights. No, a left, one right. Potentially two rights.
I like down
even
here.
Better.
I like looking down here.
If this is the glove, that's going to be very, very good for Sigil. That just means he will be...
And this is an item room, correct? Oh, it's
yes, it is.
The final magic container.
And a good life cast there by Sigil just to top off his health. And now I have a feeling he's going to go all the way up and go to the right.
That MOA took one full unit of health from him.
That's vanilla life effectiveness for you. Or not vanilla, random life effectiveness. You never know what you're going to get until you get hit. Alright, another multi-level elevator shaft. Going all the way up. And it does lead to a right.
A fake out room.
And there's a left and a right here.
With an exit there.
Opting to take the right finds... Ugh, this room.
These rooms are my personal hell.
Oh, these rooms are difficult to do if you cannot set up your 3-tile jump or your 3-tile high jumps quickly enough. But makes it to Karok very quickly. Has enough to cast Reflect. Casts it, gets ready to go, and it's time for harder Karok.
I've been seeing a lot of runners doing the left side. I always did the right side. Even What do you think about that?
So with regular Karok, you really want to be in the right corner. But with harder Karok, it doesn't matter which side you're on, because Karok will never telefrag you. It just changes the amount of time that it takes for the waves to hit Karok. So that all comes down to runner preference. Alright, Sigil going to go ahead and jump into P6 here. At 455, looking a little bit better. I mean, has all the magic containers, has 6 heart containers, and is just going to start off going to the right. The magic container was the item in 4. So we know it was a pretty quick trip over to get to Barba. Sigil doesn't know that, but we'll be finding out pretty quickly.
There we go.
And
let's see how the fight changes, if at all, with a level 4 sword.
Attack 4 should do a bit more damage here, as 2 hits already takes down that first bar of health.
His mechanics seem tighter also than Taelin was. Getting I think a little extra hit in there. No lava bath. Sigil says, do I add 2077?
Yeah, if Sigil takes a lava bath, it's unfortunate.
6 hit cycle on the right side just there.
Pretty good cycle.
What?
It's a pretty good cycle and gets the kill. Almost slips into the lava there for a second. Opts to keep the key.
I like that move. I like to do that when I have the magic to do it.
So it's actually possible to use the jump spell and jump on top of there, but it is very difficult to do.
I was actually just about to ask you that, because I know I've tried it. So, but it seems like it's close.
Way up.
So P2, P5 are the only ones where the jewels don't even bother seeing. Sigil doesn't need to.
But there's one small problem. Where's the glove?
Good question.
Sigil coming in.
Have we found 3-Eye Rock yet?
Nope, haven't seen a lot of the East yet.
I almost feel like it's going to be a trolley glove type situation where you're going to... The glove and 3-Eye Rock, you're going to... Kasuto tile.
I mean, it's possible, but...
I'd probably be heading over to the East right now. Just
I mean, that's all he's got left. He's only got... Sunken and Risen P-Bag Caves, as well as Grandma's Basement and Spell Tower for the overworld checks. At least that yield items. Aside from that, where the palaces could potentially be, there's still 3-Eye Rock and the Kasuto tile, and towns could be underneath those as well. So,
which towns have we not seen?
We haven't seen Darunia, and we haven't seen New Kasuto.
Yeah, I'm having a little bit of seed bleed there. I thought we knew Kasuto, but now I'm thinking that was last seed there.
Yeah, last seed New Kasuto was found. This seed it hasn't been yet, and this really feels like a volcanic east.
My seed bleed is intensifying.
Please stand by. Loading seed bleed. Having a bit of trouble getting the down input to register on the menu so that way he can switch to Fairy, but makes the switch and is going to go ahead and Fairy through this first lava tile. can't really blame them. It's not entirely necessary to use fairy feet, and this is either 2 or 5. We're about to find out which one. Survey says it's 2. All right. Fun little opening room here in 2. This room is always fun when you have a Goomba up at the top of it, just because you get maces raining down on your head.
Did you say this was this was Palace 2?
Yeah, this is P2.
Right.
Extra Link doll picked up, which is nice to find just standing out there for free.
I always it always seems like a double-edged sword to me when I find dolls in a palace. I know P2 is not the longest, but a short one either. And the double-edged sword for me is sometimes when I gather an accumulation of lives, I'm a little bit less likely to up an A. Because it just feels wrong wasting those lives, but sometimes...
So, let me tell you a story. Last year's Upstarts, there was a practice seed that I ran that 4 of the drops on the small enemy pool were Link dolls. And I up an aid with 12 lives in tow.
See, I bet you did that and it was the right move, or you did the calculation that it was the right move. But it is hard for when I got 4 lives, 5 lives, and the right move might be to up an A, but it just... Here we got the boss. Yes, we do.
Yep. Hello, Helmet Head with
4 hits.
Health. One more hit should it take down Helmet Head.
One more. There we go.
It's 2. A little bit more chunky on attack 4. But should not be worrying about attack 4 for much longer. Now, it's going to be a bit of a problem if he ends up getting through the P5 and then still doesn't have the glove, gets through the overworld checks, still doesn't have the glove, because he's going to have to jump back into P2, he's going to have to jump back into P5 if he doesn't find the item on the way to Goomba, and he's going to have to jump back into P6, and having to jump back into P5 and P6 both feel really, really bad.
Yeah. So we got, what is this, GP over here?
No, this is 5.
P5 right here, so... He's going to give it a try.
Might as well. It's the last palace you need. If there is a glove block in here, then that means that Sigil's going to have to go elsewhere. Muck Police, you know the mantra all too well. The glove is always here in P5 when you haven't found the glove.
Good RNG in the block room. Didn't affect him in any way.
Yeah, those blocks fell beautifully.
Oh,
and
gets the 3-tile jump, but also gets the Link doll, so back for it. Cannot get to that elevator.
Yep.
So now he's got a problem. But 3-Eye Rock is right here, so let's see what's here.
Flutes played, tile is revealed, and it's just a fairy.
We're now looking for the patch. Oh, this is an item cave, is it?
Yeah, this is the sunken P-Bag Cave. So there is going to be an item here. This is one of the 4 remaining locations on the overworld that Sigil has or needs to check. Is this going to be the glove?
And we find the glove.
A glove!
So this, we're now coming down. We're now into into no mode here. Is
Oh,
this
no,
going to
this
be a
is-
seed? Is this going to be a seed completed without the raft?
Yeah, you don't need raft for every seed.
I didn't think you did, but I don't think I've ever seen a keys under the front door mat. I don't think I've ever seen a seed completed without the raft. I completed a seed recently without the boots, and that was weird to me.
And now, I'm pretty sure I know what Sigil's looking for. There's GP, but needs to find Darunia at this point to
For the
get
upstab.
upstab.
I mean, what do you do in this situation, Sonny? I mean, if you're this to GP, do you give it a try, or do you just don't even bother and just go looking for Darunia?
There's a chance that he might go into GP. Personally, I would rather grab upstab because if I get deep in a GP and run into an upstab block while I don't have jump, that's a lot of time that I've wasted that I could give back to my opponent, especially if I'm ahead.
Well, he doesn't
In
have
this
jump.
case, Sigil doesn't have to worry about that.
Because he has jump, or he doesn't have jump?
He does not.
Okay, so he doesn't have jump. Do we know where Darunia is?
Not yet. We haven't seen
Oh.
Darunia, but
Maybe it's the new Kasuto tile
it's possible, though it could still just be
out in the
standing
wild.
out here in the wild.
Muck Police says he knows his opponent. He'll probably go grab it. I'm the other way. I'm not feeling the time pressure of taking that gamble. I'll GP, and if it turns out that I need the upstab, I'll just go back and do it after. No harm, especially being this close. That's at least how I look at it. But we'll see.
So, I just realized Sigil's going to be going into GP at 557, which is really not a bad level set to be at. Alright, heads down, finds a left, going to go up the elevator now. Finds a Guma.
Finds Guma. He's just gonna. I think he's just gonna plow forward. He's gonna take a peek at. Oh, trying the thing I talked about with Elendar, getting it inside the hitbox. Didn't get it that first time, and is just going for 2 hits per cycle there.
He's playing the safer version of the aggressive fight, where you get 2 to 3 stabs and jump over the mace. And does get Guma down. So that's going to be all 6 gems placed. That's going to be life 7. Under an hour, depending upon where Darunia is located.
Technically in go mode now.
GP sub-hour.
He can go for it. But it's going to be interesting to see. I know if I were him, but I'm just for it, but he's looking for Darunia. Is that it? I don't think that's it. Is it?
Well, we haven't seen what this town is. It could be it. It could be New Kasuto, which could have fire. We haven't seen fire yet, and it has shield instead. Also a very good pickup here. Gonna go ahead and see what is in Grandma's basement. Magic Key would be the best pickup here, but unfortunately, it's just a heart container.
I love this move. I mean, it's kind of academic because, but I mean, I'm either beelining Great Palace and taking the gamble, or I'm ducking out of anything that's not Darunia.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, with life 7 getting shield is not that either. Mad Matt 895 asked if Sigil has the spell. I do not believe he has the spell.
Sigil does have the spell.
Oh, he does have the spell. I missed it there.
But opting to not check the spell tower.
See, VT Slacker says might be grabbing all the safety since there's time credit.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna take the shortest path between 2 points, being a straight line, and then only if I need to go back will I. If you want to cast more spells, spell.
Spell. Exactly. That's why I say spell so many times when I'm using the spell.
Oh, picks up a link doll.
And there's Darunia right by GP.
All right, so then there's a situation where it just you can't pass that up.
I mean, it's very much needed right now because he kind of doesn't have jump. So if the dreaded room or one of the dreaded upstab block rooms appears, that's a problem.
Because I think you need jump in order to do those clips, right?
In order to do the upstab skips, you need the jump spell.
All right, well, now he's coming down the home stretch here. He's got upstab. He's got the glove. He's got fairy. He's got everything he needs to finish up. He did not check what the spell was, I don't believe.
So by process of elimination, since we are able to see his tracker, the spell that is going to be here in Darunia is the fire spell. If fire is linked to either thunder or fairy, this is a huge MP save for him. Because in these flags, fire is linked to a random spell, it costs 11, and it is linked to fairy. So that is an 11 MP cost fairy instead of a 37 MP cost fairy.
But he doesn't get to shoot fire, though. And you know what they say, if all else fails, use fire.
Exactly. 101.03 for the curtain being raised in GP. And now it's a matter of how long is this GP going to be? How long is it going to take to find Thunderbird? How is the Thunderbird fight going to go? And how far away will Dark Link be from Thunderbird? So far, the enemy set here in GP has been quite tame, going into one of these open rooms with the rawheads that are very, very easy to avoid in GP, but they don't stop spawning once you get to the edge of a screen.
Huh, I learned something new today.
Gonna take this elevator down and continue off to the right. Pretty free looking room here.
More choices, though, in this GP than you had in the early GP. I think you only had one many screens in. You've already have enough of road splits here.
I mean, that's the beauty of multiple GPs being able to be seen. Well, RG, we saw one bird. It was a bluebird. Okay. This is a room where the jump spell would be very, very handy. Just because that would allow for a piece of tech to be done called the Quantum Leap. And by doing the Quantum Leap, it would have allowed him to skip all of those bubbles in the first waffle, but makes it through only taking one hit and is now forced to go left. Cues up fire and is going to fly through. I mean, what's better than second T-Bird? The potential of third T-Bird.
Here we go.
Hey,
Here's
speaking of T-Bird.
So with this, now is it a single elimination? Is there a loser's bracket?
This is single elim.
All right, so that great performance this season by Taelin. Unfortunately, 2 seeds, very hard fought. Very excellent work by Sigil, and Sigil's going to go on to advance the.
All right, very, very good T-Bird fight going on right now by Sigil. For the most part, is maintaining the pendulum in the spots that it's necessary. Should be one more hit, and there is T-Bird down for Sigil. Gonna get the key from it, and now, how far away is Darklink? Because Darklink is not guaranteed to be right after Thunderbird. And he's not.
And he doesn't have
Sigil's
jump.
Sigil's actually got a tough jump to do. Gets the jump, and it's the fairy blocked version. He's just going to opt to take the death, which I like.
That's the right move.
He still had the extra Link doll, or extra life in tow, so he's going to cast Fairy immediately and go through here. And this is another room that actually requires Fairy. Because there is a different variant on the fire spell that we can turn on called Dash. But because we don't have that on for this tournament, you cannot use Dash plus Jump to make it through that previous room. And here is Darklink. So with Darklink found, that is going to allow Sigil to finish out this seed and move on to the semifinals of this year's Upstarts tournament.
GG's in the chat for Sigil. Excellent work once he dispatches Darklink.
Just like that, it's done. GG's to Sigil.
Now, are there post-game interviews that are done here?
I mean, there usually are. And Sigil should be joining us for one before too terribly long. And we are joined by the winner of both races tonight, Sigil. GG's, my friend.
Thank you.
How's it feel?
Good. The first seed did not feel good, though.
Did you think that when you got into GP in that seed, did you feel like you were behind, or what did...
Oh, I felt I was behind since I found the raft in that seed.
And what was your thought process of how you're going to get that lead back?
I hoped that the glove was in a dungeon in hopes that my opponent wouldn't dig it.
GP was a big differing factor for you in that first seed. On the second seed, were you aware that your opponent had fit it at some point?
No.
All right, so you were... How'd you feel? I think more confident, right, about your second seed?
Yes, I was much more confident with the second seed.
So, Sigil, you get into 5, you go in a few rooms, you find its glove blocked, you find sunken P-Bag Cave, you find the glove. Were you a little upset about the key being under the mat there?
No. I'd rather be dead than in a palace that I already finished.
So, That was my main concern, was when you hadn't found the item in 2 or 6, that you were going to have to go back into either one of those to potentially find the glove if it had not landed anywhere in the east. Which, I mean, that would have felt so bad.
Yes.
But
if that was the case, 6 was going to be my last palace then to dig.
I can't blame you for that, since at that point in time, 6 would have been the longest to dig through.
But also at the time, I didn't dig 2 because I still had New Kasuto's 2 spots open. And I believe Risen and Sunken.
Yeah, you still had both New Kasuto spots, Risen and Sunken, and you managed to navigate that east very, very well after you went in to fully navigate it, and everything paid off, especially since you were able to narrow down that GP was over there in the east.
Yes.
Sigil, you go on to face the winner of Vaughn versus Alsoa. Is there any part of your game that you want to work practice to try and be in your top shape to face that runner?
I feel like my beginning game. I feel like I'm too slow getting off the ground.
That's absolutely fair, because the very early game is always the hardest part, and if there's any struggle getting off the ground where your opponent has no issues doing so, that just leads to feeling defeated immediately.
Yeah, and it's time I can't get back.
I wouldn't say that you couldn't get back, because you can always get time back, because Rando's going to Rando.
Yes, but in my head, I feel like I can't get the time back.
Now that, I can absolutely agree with.
All right, well, thank you very much for joining us, Sigil, and once again, congratulations. I want to thank you, Sonny, for your co-commentary today, and our VT Slacker for the restream, Alan Heffley for all the behind the scenes, and everybody else for being here. Thank you so much. I'm going to drop off the call. I'm actually start a rando seed of Castlevania 2 now that I'm done here, but thanks everybody, and I will see you all very
Definitely want to thank our runners, Sigil and Taelin, for their races today. To our commentators, David, Sonny Rath, and of course Elendar from first race, and of course our tracker behind the scenes, RG365. Definitely want to give them a shout out as well. I'm going to send you over to Zelda Speedruns 2, where they're running a qualifier for the Majora's Mask Season 6 tournament over there. So go have fun watching that. Our next Zelda 2 randomizer race is on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, so adjust for your time zone. And that race is Custom versus Initsu, so definitely tune in for that. Other than that, thank you for watching, everybody, and we will see you next time.